All right, I believe we are live and welcome to Good Marketing Vibes. I've been reading some of the talk going on in the chat over here, and so great to see so many that I know and love well as some new faces that are coming on board. And so just welcome. I just want to give a couple of minutes so that everybody can just get acclimated and then we will get going. I'll just be totally transparent. We're going to talk about authenticity today, so I'm going to be authentic and let you know that this is the first time I'm using this platform, Crowdcast, which there's many things I love about it, but it's also brand new to me. So I'm getting used to it as we go here. So there's many things about marketing today, right, that are challenging, and technology is one of them. And I'm just here to say that as long as we participate, it works out really good. So hello, hi, Julia, hi, Lauren, welcome, welcome. Here's what's going to happen today. I have a pretty full presentation, as I normally do, and I am not going to, what I'm going to try to do is to not pay attention to the chat. Not that I don't, because I do, but I also want to pay attention to the presentation, and then we'll do a Q&A right at the end. So if you look on your, it should be the same on your screen as it is on mine, but you can see the chat on the right, but then down at the bottom, if you look about right there, there's an ask a question. And so any questions you have, just start putting them in there. And then towards the end, I'm planning on going about 45 minutes, and then we'll jump into questions, the Q&A at that point. But I want to make sure that everybody can hear me. Again, it's new technology, and I don't want to be sitting here talking and nobody can hear me. So if somebody could just say in the chat whether you can hear me and see me well. I just want to make sure we've got good quality going on. If you could just let me know. I can hear you great. Thank you so much. Okay. Yay. Technology is working. Fantastic. Sounds good. Looks great. Okay. All right. Great. So what I'm going to do, everything is great. Fantastic. I am going to, you're going to see me here, but I'm going to be sharing my screen, and I'm going to be I like to do this with slides because I don't want you to focus on me, even though it could be all about me, but we're not going to make it all about me. I want to make it about you. That's why we're here today. So what I want you to do is just really, I know we always ask this in webinars, but try to unplug from anything around you if you can, because I really want you to think about your marketing. In this first of 3 series, it's really about the why of why you're marketing, who you are. And so I want you to really focus on what I'm going to share with you as we go. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and hopefully all will just go perfectly well. So let me get that up here, and I will play from the start. And so here we go. Okay, so hopefully that is working good. Okay. So why am I doing this Good Marketing Vibes? I'm doing it because I just see a need in the marketplace. I actually wrote a victory letter piece that I write. I'll talk about that here in a few minutes. But I wrote a few weeks back, I did one and I called it Good Marketing Vibes. And I had so much response from people about it that I thought, you know what, I am going to do a webinar about this. I really want to do more about it because unfortunately there are too many bad marketers out there. And when I say bad marketers, I'm talking about people that just seem to want to beat you over the head until you buy from them, right? So one of my goals in the work that I do is to change that, to help us to feel good about the marketing that we do, because we're really getting our word out there. So that is the why of this. And I am happy to say that this webinar series is sponsored by Constant Contact. As many of you know, I've worked with Constant Contact for, oh boy, it's going on 14 years now. And it's over the course of the last 6 or 7 that I've started doing more of these live workshops and webinars. And so I want to say thanks and a big kudos to Constant Contact for the work that they do for small business and helping educate to get people to use the tools in a great and wonderful way. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Sherry Ruskis, and I am a business coach. I'm an author as well. I've written several books. I am the founder of the Victory Circles. It's an organization that I founded back in 2006 to really help to take my coaching practice that I've been doing for almost 20 years now and to do mastermind groups and to really bring people together like we're here together today. I like to think of even these webinars as a circle because you're coming together with other like-minded people. And so I love the work that I do. I have to tell you that. And I love this. You're going to see my Bitmoji throughout this presentation, but there's me and my little pooch Luna riding in my car. So here's what I want you to think about with what we're about to journey through is that I'm an avid gardener. I love to, I could be in my garden all day long, every day. I think at this time of year, it's just so beautiful. There's so many things popping up every day when I walk out there. But we live on a couple of acres, and I have a big plot of that is my garden. And if I tried to do it all at once, it would overwhelm me. And I have tried that in the past, and it didn't work out so well. And so it's really taking it step by step, bit by bit. And I actually, I am a huge proponent of garden beds because you can break it up in beds. When we first moved to this property about 25 years ago, there was, I just tried to grow everything straight in the ground. And yeah, I had 2 little kids at the time and it was crazy. I was a crazy gardener at that point. And now I have the luxury of really enjoying it. So we're going to take this bit by bit as we go through here today. And that's really what my goal is with you as we move through this. Here's our agenda. We're going to talk about being authentic because if you want to give good marketing vibes, you got to be authentic, right? It's understanding why, understanding your why. Why are you doing this? Why are you marketing to begin with? What's the important thing that you've got to share with people? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to do a strengths inventory. Sometimes in small business, we think we have to do everything. And sometimes we do, right? I mean, it's just what we have to do. But it's really to gain the strength that you want in your business. It's to figure out what you do best. And then as you can afford to, and it's usually sooner than you think, start getting the rest of the things out to someone else to do because they're not your strengths. So we're going to do a strengths inventory. And then finally, we're going to set clear marketing goals for you, whatever that looks like for you. So that's our agenda for today. And let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So first off is the whole idea of being authentic. And there's a great book by Jen Sincero, I think is how she says it. It's called You Are a Badass. Yep, You Are a Badass, and How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Live a Good Life. And I love this quote of hers. It says, the universe will match whatever vibe you put out. You can't fool the universe. So if you've ever tried to be inauthentic, just trying to, if you've tried to do a blueprint of someone else's marketing plan and I can remember in the early days when I was in sales and they handed me a script and they said, use this script. And I was like, what? You want me to just read off of this piece of paper? And it didn't work for me. It didn't work at all. But when I could just build relationships and talk to people about how excited I was about the products, whether it was way back in the day when I was selling backpacks and camping gear for a company called Wilderness Experience was really my first dive into all of this. That's when I became authentic. That's when I was excited about the products. I was excited about what it could do for my customers who were small little retail stores all across the Southwest. And so it's really, people can feel it. And that's where we have to feel, if you're feeling icky when you're out there, it just doesn't work for you. And I just want to say here too that marketing can be hard because it defines you, right? And that's the hard part, is figuring out who you are. One of the things I love when I sit down with a client to help them figure out their website and what should be on it, what, even especially if they've already created one, and it's like what should be on it and what shouldn't be on it, it's really helping define who they are. And it's one of the greatest tools that you can use in developing your website to make sure that it's really reflecting your company. So we're going to talk more about how your content and the authenticity of your content can help you. And, again, next week, we're going to talk about your target audience and how they're helping you, and how they can really make, how do I say this, so that everything's around them, right? It's around your customers, past, present, and future, as I like to think of them. And so how do you work towards that, right? To feel authentic, and you're working with the right people. That's a huge part of it. You don't have to make marketing too hard. And if you're working with the wrong audience, it can put you out of your authenticity. I had a conversation yesterday with someone and got into that whole topic. And they were asking me to work with another audience. And I just felt this terror go through me. Like, I don't want to work with that audience. That's not where my heart is. That's not who I am. So it's really looking at who that is. So I look forward to us getting into that next week. So really taking a look at how authentic you show up every day and in your marketing, if it's really reflecting, I know there's a variety of you here on this webinar, some with larger companies, some with smaller companies. You may have a team, you may not have a team, but you've got to feel good in your own skin, no matter whether you're an employee or you are an entrepreneur running your own business. It's just critical in all of it. So here's one of my first questions. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions here today, but what would change if others could fully hear the power of your message? So what would change for them, and what would change for you, right? How would your world change if this marketing worked, you were making the money right, everything was happening, and you were feeling in flow with your marketing? What would change for you? And then again, what would change for them? And there's got to be a balance in that, because sometimes if we're thinking too much about them and not about ourselves, and again, that unauthentic self comes through, then that doesn't work. But it's got to work for both. It's got to be a balanced situation. So really looking at that. And that's why, I don't like blueprint marketing plans, because I think that they don't look at your mindset. And mindset is so important in all of this. And yes, sometimes we have to challenge ourselves, without a doubt, to do something like I challenged myself today to try this new webinar platform, because our other one just wasn't working the way that we wanted it to. And so I knew that it was time to do something new. So here I am today doing that. But looking at, and it's one of the things that I don't like about some of these big marketing gurus, and it's something that is just in my gut lately, that it's bothering me so much, because I hear over and over and over again from different clients who have paid, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to do a program, and then their mindset couldn't get into it. There was some kind of a snafu, shall we say, that it just wasn't working for them, but they couldn't really talk one-to-one because it was just a big group program. And I will tell you, I've been there myself. I have paid a ton of money for programs that were supposed to, change everything, and they didn't. And I'm out the money, and they didn't change it. So that's where I really feel like it's important that you can talk one-on-one, that you can really feel what you need to change for yourself, and make marketing work for you. So I'm going to get off my soapbox about that a little bit, but I think that that's really an important element for you to look at. And sometimes, we'll do that even with advertising, right? Well, if I do the big enough ad, it'll just do what I need it to do. Or if I spend this money, and actually there's some coaches / gurus out there that's their whole thing. Well, if you spend enough money, you'll do it. Well, yeah, that's not a good idea, especially if you're in a small business and you have a limited amount of money. So All right, off that soapbox. So let's talk about your strengths. Love this quote from Marcus Buckingham, who said that a strength is any activity that makes you feel strong, right? Um, and if you're not familiar with Marcus Buckingham, I'm mentioning a bunch of authors today because I am an avid reader, and I think we're amongst so many thought leaders in the world that I just think that we're so blessed. And with Audible right now, you can listen to a lot of these books on Audible, which when I'm out in my garden, I'm constantly consuming something. But he wrote Strengths Finder, and he's come out with several versions of it. So I highly respect his work behind looking at your strengths. But with some of the important elements of marketing, uh, it's important to include those as well. And so those of you who know me know that from courage to creativity to your content, to your customers, to consistency, it's really where is your strengths within those. And I have a group of questions I'm going to ask around that. Which one was I going to do? Strengths, find your strengths. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I want to ask you some questions, and I don't want you to panic and think, oh, I've got to write these questions down so I'll know them. I really just want you to sit. If you could be quiet and close your eyes and even think about it, that would be amazing. And I'm going to give you the link to your homework assignment. I love giving out homework. Anybody who's worked with me knows I love the homework. But I'm just going to ask you the questions now. I decided against even putting the questions up on the screen because I want you to just really kind of go within yourself and ask these questions or answer these questions. I'll ask the questions, you answer them. All right, so number one, in this past week, I want you to stop and think about the activities that you looked forward to doing. And maybe if you've been on vacation, it wasn't in the last week, but just even think about your week moving forward. What are you looking forward to and actually are yearning to do, right? Things you're excited to do. Like I love doing these webinars. Once I get past this little technology piece, I love doing this piece. So I want you to think about that. And of those activities, what keeps you inquisitive and really puts you in the zone, right? When you're just doing work that you love, right? And all of a sudden you look up and 3 hours have passed by and you're like, how could that be possible? So what is it that puts you in the zone? And then what activities uplift and fulfill you the most? And when I say fulfill, it's that deep, like, this is the work that I love, that I know that I'm supposed to be doing. What is that? And again, this is leading back to your strengths. And then what are the skill sets that you believe to innately, right? It's that intuition piece of us that you believe are inside of you. And you believe that drive you no matter what. You know, we all have this up and down roller coaster of our lives. And in our business world, and what drives you just to keep going? I'm going. I will tell you, for me, I have been an entrepreneur since I was 28 years old. So just a couple of years ago, and why do I keep doing it? Because I know this is what I know that I was born to be a coach. I know that I was born to do this work. And even when times are tough and when things didn't work out the way I wanted to, I knew I had to keep going. I knew that this was my path. And it's that innate sureness of what you're doing, that your strengths are there, and that, again, it goes back to that being in the flow. So I want you to think about that. And then I want you to, part of your homework assignment between now and next week is to ask 3 people. So just 3 people that you love and that you trust. Again, this will all be in your homework worksheet, about what they think that your top 3 strengths are. So you're going to answer this from the inside out, and then you're going to answer it from the outside in, right? To get some feedback from people. So start with the people that you know, love, and trust. And then, not that you don't know, love, and trust your customers, but then I would ask you, to the customers that you have the strongest relationships with, ask them, go and ask 3 customers what they think that your top strengths are. And I wouldn't limit it to 3. I've on your worksheet, I have 5, but just ask them what they think your strengths are, even yourself and even your company. Like, so often we forget to ask our customers why they do business with us, right? We just keep throwing out, it's like throwing out posts on social media and never getting, engaging or getting feedback. So it's really important that you do that. All right, so that's in your homework. A lot of other goodies in your homework. So I'm going to just let you work through that for the strengths piece of it. And I think you'll be, I don't want to say surprised, because some of this may all be innately and you know it, but what I will say is that you'll honor these strengths more. And that's my hope through all of this, is that you honor it more. Another great author of our time is Malcolm Gladwell, and The Tipping Point and a few other of his great books. But he talks about the 10,000 hour rule, right? So that's, once anybody's gotten 10,000 hours into any part of their life, business, etc., that they really are an expert. So I would encourage you, as you look at these strengths, to look at that and where you're at. And even with marketing, if you're at this point right now where you're feeling so unsure, not clear what to do, know that the more that you do it, the better you become. I've been writing a piece called The Victory Letter. And if you're not subscribed, I'll give you some information at the end. It's a free inspirational piece that I send out every Monday morning. And next week, is it next week or the week after? Anyway, in June, as June is quickly going by, it's already the 12th of the month, I am celebrating 17 years of writing The Victory Letter. I think that would be 10,000 hours I've had into it. But I've written it every single Monday morning for the last 17 years. And again, it's that commitment, it's that consistency, and it's that expertise. I am a different person today than when I started writing that first letter. I'm a different writer than I was, because I grew my skill, I worked through it. So I would encourage you to look at, if I were to look at the 10,000 hour rule, what is my expertise, and what are the things that really work for me in that area? All right. Oops, I went a little too fast here. Okay, understanding your why. So I'm a huge Simon Sinek fan. If you haven't watched any of Simon's videos, he has one called How Great Leaders Inspire. How Great Leaders Inspire. It's a TED Talk that he's done. You must, without a doubt, watch that video. It's a free video that you can just get, on YouTube or wherever, or even on text. So he has this talking point about the circle, right? He calls it the golden circle. And it's talking about the what, how, and why of your marketing message, or your message as a leader even, because I mean, that's really what the topic came around, was about leadership. And what I want you to think about, too many times when it comes to our marketing vibe that we're creating, we get stuck in the how and the what, right? Really the features. If you're talking features and benefits, marketing 101, you get stuck in that, in the how and the what. And what gets people to buy, what creates a tribe, what creates a following of people who that, again, that know, like, and trust factor, is why. People want to know why. When you look at social media and why, I'm using the word why a lot, and why it's become such a phenomenon, it's because people want to be able to see the real you. They want to be able to see, what makes you passionate. Think about the times that you had the easiest time selling somebody something or marketing something. It's because you were in your passion. You are in your why. And so I really want you to look at that as we move forward, and as you work through some of these ideas. of what is that? What is it about your company, your business? What are you doing to change the world? And it may be the world of your backyard right here in Colorado, for those of you here in Colorado or wherever. I know we have mostly people here in Colorado, but I know there's some people from outside of Colorado. And so what is that? And what is that why? And that's what you need to focus on. Simon talks a lot about Apple Computer, right? And I think we all have seen the success of Apple. I'm an Apple maniac. And why was it? Because of Steve Jobs' why. I mean, I started using Apple products back in the 80s when it was kind of funky. And what are you doing? What's that square little box that looks like a fish tank? Somebody said to me once, is that a fish tank on your desk? And it was because of the why. It was like, it was different. It was unique. It was, and Steve Jobs really, it's why people line up to get Apple products before, for days sometimes, when in 2 days from then, they could just walk in the store and buy it, but they want to be the first. So understanding your why is super important. So I want to ask you some questions around that I believe leads to your why, right? I am a huge advocate of goals and really looking at the big vision. And so often, I talk to people all the time. I mean, in live workshops, webinars, my clients, etc. And sometimes, especially if you've been in business for a while, or you started business with one ideal, and then, it kind of changed. It wasn't exactly how you wanted it to. That's why small businesses can fade so quickly, is because we lose the vision, right? We get scared, we lose the vision, and the goals seem unreachable. So it's almost like they dissipate and we lose that. So I want you to think about, again, going back to the word why, the bigger the why, the easier the how, as Jim Rohn said. And really looking at, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. Again, don't worry about it. This will be in your homework, but I want you to just really stop and think about this. Number one, what is the big vision that you have for what you want to achieve in your business? What's the big vision, the big picture? Not all, some days we get caught in the minutia, but what's the big picture? So think about that for a minute while I take a drink of water. Number two is what is the reason that the world, again, I asked it earlier, I'm going to ask it again. What's the reason the world needs to hear your message? Why does the world need your product or services the way that you do it, the way that your company does it? Why? Why is that? Who are the people that you serve best? Again, we're going to dig into this much deeper next week. But who are the people that you serve best, and who's that target audience that you love? Again, as you look at that target audience, because it's such an important factor, that's why I'm giving a whole session to it next time. It's like those people that we all have it, right? Or that person that you see on caller ID or however coming into your inbox that you're like, oh, awesome. It's this person that I love. It's awesome. And then there's those that you go, oh God, it's going to be a problem. I know this is going to be a problem. Or sometimes maybe you've brought on a client and when you did it, it was probably not going to have a good ending because there were so many problems just getting to the point of doing business together. But, you said, oh, well, we need the money, or whatever reason that or you couldn't say no, etc. And so it's really finding out because when you can get so clear on your target audience, you can eliminate some of that. I can't say you can eliminate all of it, but you can eliminate a lot of it. Number four is, why is your product or service the best in the marketplace? Why are you the best? And if somewhere in your mind when I said that, you kind of went, oh, well, maybe we're not the best, but we're pretty good. I want you to shift that, and really, why are you the best, or what do you have to do to become the best? And and that best is your definition of best, but it could be the best service, the best quality product, and the things that you do to make them the best. I had participated in a group last night, and one of the woman who was leading it, she's just a fabulous visionary, and she talked about she had a tea company at one point in time, and she sold the company. She worked hard, built it up against incredible odds, and built it up, sold the company, and they just started destroying her company. They started doing things she didn't want them to do. And I've been there. I sold my company. Same thing happened to me, where all of a sudden the people that bought it promised they would take really good care of my clients. I had had this business for 16 years, and they came on board, and they were just, I had a telephone answering service that I ran and owned and operated and so they came in, and my clients just, I'll never forget the day that one of my best clients called me and said, "What have you done?" And I just wanted to cry. And this woman last night was sharing that as well, but she's getting the opportunity to potentially buy the company back, which is super cool. I don't know if I would have wanted to buy mine back, because I was, after 16 years, I was pretty done. So why is your product or service the best? Number 5 is, what do you do better than your competition? And knowing your competition, and competition comes in all shapes and sizes, right? Someone you may not even think is your competition is actually taking people, the dollars that people could be spending with your business, they're spending it somewhere else. So what does that look like? And so really getting to know your competition and how you can be better than your competition. Number 6 is, how do you want to get your message out into the marketplace? Now, we're going to be talking a lot about this in the third session of this series. But how do you want to get out into the marketplace? So do you really want to do maybe webinars like this? Do you want to do, is that how, and a lot of it, again, is knowing that target audience and how are they digesting the materials that are coming at them. Do you want to do email marketing, social media? We're going to talk about that. And then social media is like a whole big thing into itself, and we'll dig down deeper about where you need to be in social media. So looking at that, how do you want to do that? Right? What does that look like to you? Do you want to write? Do you want to blog? Do you want to, what is it? What is it you like to do? Or what do you want to get better at? Like I shared, I wanted to be a better writer when I started writing the victory letter. I wasn't very good. I mean, it was okay, but not that great, except that I got better and better and better and better, right? So it's looking at that and really looking at the platforms that you desire to use and use well. Again, going back to that 10,000 hours. I'm excited about Crowdcast. That's the platform I'm using here for this webinar. I'm excited when I get on my 10th, 12th, 13th, because then I can not even think about the platform, but really be thinking about this piece, okay? Number 7 is the financial piece, right? We're all in business for a reason, and one of the biggest ones is money. Money makes the world go round, they say. And what's the financial reward you seek? I will tell you again, I'm amazed many times when people aren't really clear about it. Maybe they've lost the focus. They had an idea once, it got knocked out, and they're not really clear. Oh, I don't know, maybe this much or maybe that much. It's getting crystal clear on what the financial reward is in the form of gross revenues, right? What's the gross revenue if you want to do 100K a year? This is also one of the issues I have with the big marketeers out there. Make $1 million. Well, that's great and that's good, but I could also buy a lottery ticket and hope that works out as well. And yes, it's possible to do, don't get me wrong, but for the majority of people, when you look at how many people are making millions in their business and how many are making even 100K and less, there's a big gap. And so it's not trying to get to the huge mark, it's just trying to get to that mark that would be a big stretch for you. So what does that look like? And then keeping in mind that, the ideal amount of money you should be spending on your marketing is 10% of your gross revenue. And So what kind of marketing could you do? So if you wanted to do 100K, and if you spent $10,000 on marketing, which I know, and don't get me wrong, I know some of you listening to me right now are going, $10,000, that would be like a dream to have $10,000. But if you could think in advance of that, where would you spend it? How would you spend the money on your website? Maybe social media advertising, etc., right? Of getting somebody to assist you, to help you with the marketing if it's something you're super struggling in. So really looking at that and how can you make it possible? Because too often we try to take the marketing dollars and do them after the fact. But if we can, that's where even most small businesses starting out don't give themselves enough money to market, to give themselves enough time to get their brand built. And, ideally it should be a year, 2 years to really get through those bumpy the first year. For any of you who have had that first year, it's a bumpy one. And I don't care if it's your first business, second business, third business, things are different once you get out in the marketplace. So looking at that, and then looking at where the money will come from, and what support you need in order to get the best marketing done for your business. Like, what do you need to do to make that happen? All right. And then number 10 of these 11 questions, there's 11 total, that'll be in your homework, is your website, which I like to think of as your online storyboard, right? It lets people know who you are. How's it going to look? How's it going to feel? We're going to be talking about that in the third session. And how will you keep it current and updated, right? And any of you that have been in one of my live workshops, I talk about this a lot. It's like, it's not this brochure that you do and go away from. It's got to be current. And there's a lot of things changing. I just listened to a conference on audio and what's happening in the world of audio with search engine, how it's going to change the world of search engines. It's already changing the world of search engines, how we Google today or how we text today, or how a lot of things are going to change because of audio. So really looking at that and always keeping updated, because here's the other truth about marketing today, right? If we don't keep updated, and kudos to everyone that's here today for being here, because that we've got to keep current, because if we don't, next week it could all change. But this is why it's so important to have this why in place, to know what you need. And then finally, number 11 of the Big Vision worksheet is, how will all of this help you to achieve the top 5 goals? I always like to have people working on their top 5 goals that you have, either for your business or for your life. I don't believe they all have to be for business. It should be some for business. If you're if you're running a business, they should be there. But it's all about our life too. I think we, in the last week, with what happened with Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain, big wake-up call to all of us, right? It's not all about business. And if we're not having it trickle down into our lives, then that's not a good thing either. So that's the big vision that I'm going to have you guys working on in the week ahead. And I really encourage you to give yourself the time, the space, go for a long walk and then sit down and do it. I love to do this kind of stuff. And I'm a huge believer in morning meditation, getting your day started quiet, calmly. Right now, I love to, my garden is right outside this window right here, and that's where I like to hang out for the first hour. Sometimes, like today, I had an hour and a half, which was beautiful. And if I can get 2 hours out there of just sitting, meditating, planning, dreaming, it makes such a huge difference. So giving yourself that time and space. And if something inside of you right now is screaming like, I don't have that kind of time, I would stop and ask yourself why, and really feel the power that we each have within us. All right, so just a couple more things, and then I'm going to turn it over to Q&A. So if you haven't put any questions in yet, please do, and we'll get to that here in just a couple of minutes. Again, so next week we're going to be talking about, I love that, good marketing vibes. I mean, I've been playing around with that. I always have to make sure I'm doing it right, because isn't there another sign that's not so good? But I would just encourage yourself, if you're feeling bad about marketing, good marketing vibes, right? Let's do that. So next week, finding your sweet spot. We're going to really dig into the whole thing about your target audience. And one of the questions I asked you previously is, and will be in your homework, is about the target audience. You can answer that quickly, but then we'll really dig deep, because I know a lot of people struggle with this, and so I want to be able to do that. So that's really, in the meantime, your homework is a lot, because, and here's, I'm going to give you my little, what do I want to say, my coach talk around this, is that you can attend workshops, you can do all this stuff, but if you don't do the homework, if you don't sit down and do the writing, and why writing is so important, whether you want to, click your fingers on the keyboard or do longhand, whatever works best for you, you've got to do this work, because it's writing it down, and it's really doing it in a free write process, something I talk about a lot, but that's the whole idea of allowing your unconscious mind to take over, of not letting your inner critic go, oh, no, you can't do that, whatever. Just the first thoughts that come to your mind, really just do this as a brain dump when you answer these questions, and be open-minded about it, and not just rushing through to get it done like we used to do back in the day. I know I did anyway. So it's really about taking the time, honoring yourself, letting that unconscious mind. Now, is that the unconscious mind or the conscious mind that's in that slide? That's a very good question. It's a combination of both. I always think that, I'm sure somebody on this webinar can say that, but that the conscious is up front. I think I was on a podcast I did once that someone had told me that, a psychologist that I was interviewing. But anyway, so, work with your mind and get this work done. I love that. Love it. Okay. So I want to share with you a quote from Maya Angelou as we talk about writing. And here's what she said. We write for the same reason that we walk, talk, climb mountains, or swim the oceans, because we can. We have some impulse within us that makes us want to explain ourselves to other human beings. That's why we paint. That's why we dare to love someone, because we have the impulse to explain who we are. And I want you to take the word right out, and I want you to put in market. We market for the same reason, right? Because we can share who we are. And as you write your homework, think of this. I should put, so here's the thing, that this recording will be available on that same page that your homework is on. We're going to move it over. It's on Crowdcast, and I think you can actually go to the link that you got into Crowdcast with, if I'm correct. But it will also be over on that. The link will be over on the homework page as well. All right. So I'm going to get to Q&A, but I just want to do say a couple things. One is, if you're not getting the victory letter, go to victorycircles.com/subscribe, and you can get it, or you see the blog at the top of the page and just click to that. I would love for you to follow me on Instagram. I mean, what is it? Instagram, for those of you who've been in my workshops know, right now is my favorite social media platform. I just feel like we can be authentic on Instagram more than any other platform. And I think that's an important factor in your marketing as well. What platform do you feel really good working on? If you feel good in Facebook, if you feel good in Pinterest, et cetera, great. But I would love, I'm Victory Girl over on Instagram, so please do that. And if between now and then you feel like you want a coaching session to help, get you through this, you can find out more information on how to do that at victorycircles.com/marketing clarity. So that's what we need. And I think with that, I am going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to come back on here, and here I am. Hello. Okay. So here we are. And does anybody have any questions? I think I've got, let me look here. I think I've got 3 questions. Okay. First one says, any tips on getting a bigger audience when I already have somewhat large following? I'm an artist, have about 6,500 Instagram followers. Lucky you. That's awesome. And 1,100 subscribers on YouTube. I'm building momentum and know I need patience. Patience is a virtue, they say. And I need 100K followers to make a real business. So it really depends on what you're selling. And that's what I want to say. Not everybody needs 100K. And that's not necessarily for everyone, but I would just say to keep at it. Obviously, you're doing something right because you've gotten quite a momentum. I don't know how long you've been at it, but I would say to just keep going and you will do great. All right. Let's see what else I have. Where do I find the homework sheets at? Good question. And I'm actually going to pull this up right now because it's not showing, and I'm going to show it. Voila. Here is the homework. If you look down here, right there, you will see, click here for your homework. And if you click on that, it'll give you the link over to the page that the homework is sitting on. All right, so you got that. And then I think that's it. Where do I find the homework sheets at? Yeah, any other questions that anybody has before we say goodbye for today? I wanted to make this short and sweet, so maybe, with the extra time, you can get your homework done. Start doing it right now. That would be fantastic. Anybody, any other questions? I'm just going to look through here to make sure I got everything covered. Please know, too, that you can also reach out to me, and I'm going to put that up here in the chat. If you have a question that you just need a quick question answered, Sherry at businessvictories.com. I think I got that. Yeah, Sherry at Victory, and Sherry is CHERI, so that's up there. Great, glad everybody's enjoying it. All good. Okay, so there we go. We did this in 45 minutes. I'm very proud of us. Good job. So please do the homework. Next week, which is June 19th, will be the sweet spot and finding the who, and then the where will be the following week, which is June 26th. Again, same time, 12 o'clock Mountain time, and bring your lunch, hang out. This has been kind of fun, and I'm excited about this. Also know that on our website, when you're over there, if you go to the tab at I forget what exactly it says, but there's a resources tab. If you go down into the drop down on the very last tab, I think it says more is what it says. There's a resources page, and things like Crowdcast that I do this webinar on, and different tools that I use are there. So please, Constant Contact, again, thanks to them for today. And there's a free 60-day trial for Constant Contact if you're ready to jump into email marketing, which I believe that we all should be doing, and it's been one of the greatest joys and tools in my business today. So that is it. I will say goodbye and thank each of you for being with me here today, and enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. It's gorgeous outside, and it's going to be another hot one, I think. Yeah. So, all right, you guys, I'm going to find the place to end the meeting, and I'm ending it. Bye.